So today's topic is making solar work for you. We're going to talk about widget options, um, customizing your toolbars, using views, and some specific things in sales order entry, especially in the body screen. As I always say, we have quick guides on this and a variety of other topics in the T drive under training and resources. For this one actually comes from Eclipse. Like I end up writing a lot of our quick guides, but this one I took directly from Eclipse, and it's called Solar Eclipse Quick Reference Guide. And it explains widgets and setting up categories on your desktop and a couple of other things. Okay. So I got a little creative with this, and I thought I'd try to use an analogy. So this is my toolbox at home, and usually it's kind of a jumble, and the tools look like something like this here on the left. But if I was getting ready to start working on a little project in my house, I would probably lay out my tools, that I would need for the job, nice and neat and orderly. So that's how I kind of think about the widgets in Solar Eclipse is, which ones do you need to use most often, and get those arranged nice and neat and orderly so you know where to get them. Also, like a toolbox, how I want to set up my toolbox and the tools I'm going to use for a job could be different than how you do it. That's completely fine. Solar gives you the options to do a fair amount of customizing. So we'll start off first with widgets, and then we'll get into categories. So of course, we all have the calling queue, but just to use that as an example. I think you probably both know how to add widgets. So I'm just right-clicked on my Solar desktop, and just to use an example, let me see if I can get this to kind of go over my my slides here. Yeah. Okay. So with every widget that you set up, it comes with a default title. I usually don't rename them. This is actually an example where I do rename it because I have one widget calling queue for new that I set up where I have it default to new items, and then I have another one set up that I call calling queue dash trouble, which I have set up to do trouble. But anyhow, for every widget, you can customize the name if you like. And depending what the widget is, there's different size options. Why it doesn't give you all three sizes for every widget, I don't know. But if it's something important to you, and some of these widgets display numbers in them, like number of new orders, but you only see that if you choose one of the bigger sizes. So widget size is usually an option. Widget background really means color. I kind of like things color coded. I'll show you my Solar desktop in a minute, but whatever makes sense to you or is pleasing to your eye. This flash on change I've experimented with. Generally, it would drive me nuts, but it could come in handy on certain widgets. The one I thought about is like maybe remote order entry queue. Maybe you'd want it to flash. So that's something you can experiment with. You don't like it, you can turn it off. Widget icon, if you like looking at 90s clip art, we've got it for you. Some people kind of go nuts with this, but you can have a different icon, for each of your widgets if you like. And then finally on each widget, you get to put it into a category, and we'll get into categories more in a moment. I have we all have home as a category, and then I've given myself sales, one I call manager daily. It has like cash box, journal, business summary, detail invoice preview report. And then the last one I have is all my like warehouse related widgets. So again, these categories, um, it's completely up to you. Let me get out of that for a moment. Sorry, I try not to jump back and forth too much between my slides and solar, but um, so as far as the categories, here's my 4 across the top. To add a new category, you just click this plus sign and whatever you want to call it. Choose from your 90s style clip art. That's it. You got yourself a new category. If you don't like it, you can delete it by right clicking. That'll delete everything in it. Of course, I've got nothing in here. So, move your widgets elsewhere before you delete a category. So I'm just right clicking and delete. But again, it's whatever makes sense to you. To me, this is kind of a logical grouping. Under home, these are things that kind of I'm playing around with. Sales is most everything to do with entering sales, following up on sales, things, to do with customers. And then, like I said, RF and warehouse. Now, within a category, how you group things together, like, is up to you. I would just recommend thinking about if you have things that are pretty closely related, maybe group them close together. So like warehouse and process status and warehouse and process queue to me go hand in hand. So I put them side by side. This kind of cluster of widgets down here is dealing with return goods. So I got return goods queue, open POs report, if I want to run that for negatives, and the aged unbilled stock receipts. So to me, these 3 things go together. So I put them together on my screen. Likewise, back to sales, I have kind of the queues, customer calling queue for new, for trouble, the available sales order queue. These things all seem pretty related to me. So I color coded them and clustered them together here. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is within most screens in Solar, you get a choice of different views. And then once you've chosen a view, you can move the columns around and you can lock them in place. So the example I want to use is the invoice preview queue. Let me get that up on the screen. Okay. This invoice preview queue, there are a couple different view choices under the magnifying glass, but they're pretty similar. When you first come into this screen, I think it looks something, I don't know, like this maybe. But for me, for my brain, how I think, I like to have customers all the way over to the left. So when you're in a screen with different columns, you can left click and grab the top of the column and then drag the column to where you want it. So I want to see my customers first, then I don't know, maybe I want to see ship date. So I'm just clicking and dragging the column. And then to lock those columns in place so that they're in this order the next time I come in, at the top of one of the columns, doesn't matter which one, right click and choose Save Settings. Now the next time I come into the screen, this is how they'll be ordered for me. Also, if you're in a screen with multiple columns and multiple rows, just left clicking in a column heading will sort it alphabetically or numerically, depending what's in there. So again, the way my brain works, I want to see this. I want to see everything for my A customers at a mechanical, then, sorted alphabetically. So I just left click and it sorts it. If I wanted to, see everything in a certain print status, left click, and now everything is sorted by print status. Okay, toolbars. So I'm going to go into a sales order and show you how to add stuff and change up your toolbar. Okay, so I'm in a sales order on the first screen, the body of the sales order, and I actually already did add byline maintenance, so we'll add something else, but you just kind of hover in a blank space on the toolbar and then right click, choose customize toolbar, and it's going to bring up another screen here. Now, anything that you can get to off of these menus at the top, and in a sales order, there's got to be 50 plus things you can launch into. But anything you can get to off of those menus up there, you can add to your toolbar. You just have to go down and find it. So I added byline maintenance. It's pretty far down there. Line items, maintenance. Here we go. So I already did byline maintenance, so I'll do price line maintenance. So anything you want to add, you just click it, and it kind of highlights it, and then click add. When you do that, it's going to put it all the way at the bottom of the list. Bottom of the list here means it'll be all the way over to the right, and it's actually off of the screen. So when you've added something over to your toolbar, you can sort the items on your toolbar by clicking on them and then clicking this move up or move down. So if I put price line all the way to the top of this list, what that's doing is putting it all the way to the left of my toolbar once I get out of this screen. Before I do that, if I want to give that an icon, I click in this display image, go to the drop down. It's our favorite selection of 1990s clip art. Choose one and exit the screen. Sure enough, now I have price line maintenance all the way over on the left there. So again, toolbar maintenance, just right click in a blank spot, customize toolbar, and then to add things, you find them over here on the left, you click them, click add. Once you've added something in the toolbar, you can move it around by going up and move up and down. You can remove things just by clicking them and then remove. Okay, just one or two more things in sales orders here. Yeah, view options. Okay. You have a couple options around seeing product images within a sales order. So if you click the view menu, you have an option to show product images on line items you can click. Of course, this is only going to work if there is an image. So this sales order has a couple of them. That's pretty small. So if I go back under that view menu, you can also do this product image size. So there you go. That's a little bit bigger. I think this is cool, but what I actually prefer to this, let me go back to view. I'm going to hide the images. If you do view information pane, expand, what that does is whatever line you're clicked on, it will show a much bigger picture over on the right, and then it shows a couple of pieces of information like the price line and the buy line also. Why else I like this is you can click this open and close. Like once you've enabled it, it's always there when you come into a sales order, but you can easily open and close it. So again, that was view. You get your choice of show product image on each line item, or using this information pane, you would just click expand and then it puts it there. Last thing I want to show you is on larger orders with like multiple generations, multiple ship dates, you can do this options, highlight items on different generations. So let me turn it back on. So I'm on this May 3rd shipment that totals $7,659, and it's highlighting a couple of products that are not on that shipment. And it's actually easy to prove out because this is $8,300 and this is $10,000. So, it's easy to see that my whole order, that whole shipment is only going to equal less than $8,000. But anyhow, if you're trying to figure out what's going on with a larger order with multiple shipments, that can come in handy. Easy to turn on and off also. I think that's all I have for you guys. Yep. So let me give you the ability to unmute yourselves. One moment. All right. Anything new for you there?
For me, the information pane, what you just did, is very nice.
Cool. I like it a lot. Yeah.
And then the highlight in the different generations.
Yeah, I like that too.
That's
both of
probably
those. Yeah, both of those are easy to turn on and turn off also.
Yeah. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, one of that's relatively new. Like once or twice a year we take a new version, a new release of Eclipse. So I think it's within maybe the last year or so they added that.
Okay.
Whenever there's a new version, I always try to figure out, like what's new and cool.
Cool. Real cool.
Yeah, the information page is new to me. I usually always went to product cross-reference, and it was like 3 extra clicks, but especially with like vendor and stuff, it's right there. And like you were saying earlier with the making the widget flash, I only use it for one widget, and it is for both orders. And it does help draw your attention. Otherwise, it would be pretty annoying. But yeah, it's helpful for that.
There's something else with this in this information pane that's a little bit hidden or not obvious, is if I click on the product number. I mean, I could get to these things another way, but then it brings up some more options here. So, but I like that it has the price line, because that would be the vendor number, so that could maybe save a step. But that's also why I added byline maintenance here. So if I'm clicked on a product, it just went off to my other screen. Hold on. So if I'm clicked on a product, then I can easily get in and, for example, see who the buyer is. I always pretend I work at Broomall, so I could see who the buyer is for that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Raheem had sat in on like I think your last class, and he told me about that, and I thought that's helpful because we're always asking, like the purchaser always changing. I feel like we're always asking these people the same questions every couple months.
Yeah. Yeah.